Hi, we're Quentin Curious Volumes. My name is James. Today is Tuesday, and some people like to do tags on Tuesday. I have been tagged for it's called a challenge, not a tag, but it is the Quick to Judge Challenge, which was created a few years ago by Ali Risdal, and has been revived by Jess Book Girl TV, and she tagged me and asked me to do it. The prompts are that you pick 5 to 10 unread books from your shelves and read the first paragraph of every book. Then you rank the books based off the first paragraphs. I might not do that. Add your highest ranked book to your upcoming TBR and then invite someone else to do it. Now, I have all these books and I haven't read them, so they are technically in my TBR. I got them because I want to read them. But let's here's 5 that are particularly enticing to me. This is a book I got on my birthday recently. I went out to a used and new bookstore here in town, and I picked up this copy of Shadow and Act by Ralph Ellison. Ellison is best known as the author of Invisible Man, and unfortunately that is the only novel that he finished in his life, because it is great. Would have been great if we had 5 or 6 more Ralph Ellison novels. But we do have this book of essays. I think he has another book of essays as well. I did dip into this a little bit, and I will read to you. I'm going to skip the introduction where he kind of looks back. I'll read the first, the first thing in it is an interview, so I'm going to skip that interview. Boy, I'm already quick to okay, here we go. 20th Century Fiction and the Black Mask of Humanity. This is the first paragraph from the first proper essay in this book. Perhaps the most insidious and least understood form of segregation is that of the word. And by this I mean the word in all its complex formulations, from proverb to the novel and the stage play. Okay. From the proverb to the novel and stage play, the word with all its subtle power to suggest and foreshadow overt action, while magically disguising the moral consequences of that action and providing it with symbolic and psychological justification. For if the word has the potency to revive and make us free, it has also the power to blind, imprison, and destroy. Well, okay. Starting off with a very long sentence there, and probably have to read that a couple more times to fully grok what he is getting at. I'm sure he expands upon it in this essay. So there you go. That is an essay from Shadow and Act by Ralph Ellison. I've also dipped into this. I got it also on my birthday at the same store. The Upstairs Delicatessen on Eating, Reading About Eating, and Eating While Reading by Dwight Garner, famous contemporary book critic. And this is a memoir. When I was young, growing up in West Virginia and then in Southwest Florida, I was a soft kid, inclined toward embonpoint, husky in the department store lingo, and a brown-eyed boy with chafing thighs because I liked to eat while I read. And, reader, I read whatever was handy. George Orwell described his childhood self as having a large, rather fat face, with big jowls, a bit like a hamster. This was my look too, so much so that my friends presenting me with a hamster as a joke gift. I regret to inform you that I named it Holden, after J.D. Salinger's hero. Holden ate lettuce and, probably despairing of his diet, staggered backwards theatrically on his hind legs one day and croaked, like Lee Marvin in The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. That's a pretty good introduction. I'd like to keep reading that. Okay, here's one that I've had on my shelf for a long time. It is Willa Cather's The Professor's House. I got this at a little free library. I've read 3 or 4 other novels by Willa Cather, 4 I think. This is the only one that I have on my shelf that I haven't read. And let's read the first paragraph of this. The Professor's House by Willa Cather. The moving was over and done. Professor St. Peter was alone in the dismantled house where he had lived ever since his marriage. where he had worked out his career and brought up his 2 daughters. It was almost as ugly as it is possible for a house to be. Square, 3 stories in height, painted the color of ashes. The front porch just too narrow for comfort, with a slanting floor and sagging steps. As he walked slowly about the empty, echoing rooms on that bright September morning, the professor regarded thoughtfully the needless inconveniences he had put up with for so long. The stairs that were too steep, the halls that were too cramped, the awkward oak mantels with thick round posts crowned by bumptious wooden balls over green tiled fireplaces. And that goes on, describing more about certain infelicities of this old house. So, that sounds pretty good to me. I would like to continue reading with that. That is The Professor's House by Willa Cather. All right. Here is another probably the most recent book that I have in here. Maybe not. Anyway, this is Sing Unburied Sing, a novel by Jesmyn Ward. A lot of people on Booktube like Jesmyn Ward, and I believe this is in some ways a retelling or inspired by the plot of As I Lay Dying by William Faulkner, which I read maybe 30 years ago now. But yes, so let's see what this is. Hopefully it doesn't have any words that I'm not supposed to say. Okay. Chapter 1, Jojo. I like to think I know what death is. I like to think that it's something I could look at straight. When Pop tells me he need my help and I see that black knife slid into the belt of his pants, I follow Pop out the house, try to keep my back straight, my shoulders even as a hanger. That's how Pop walks. I try to look like this is normal and boring, so Pop will think I've earned these 13 years. So Pop will know I'm ready to pull what needs to be pulled, separate innards from muscle, organs from cavities. I want Pop to know I can get bloody. Today is my birthday. Okay, so clearly that is meant to be in some kind of African-American dialect, which I'm not going to imitate, but there you go. I mean, that's pulling you into a world, introducing you to a character, or introducing you to the world through the eyes of this character. Okay, that's a good start. And then here's one that I've been looking for a while, and I was glad to get it for a decent price of $5. It is Ducks Newburyport by Lucy Ellman. This is kind of a famously challenging novel, and that is most of it is in one unbroken sentence, and it's about 1,000 pages long. So, but I looked, and it does start with some short paragraphs. I'll read you not just the first paragraph, but the first 2, because the first paragraph is just one sentence. And then I'll tell you something interesting I found in here. When you are all sinew, struggle, and solitude, your young, being soft, plump, vulnerable, may remind you of prey. To be woken, biffed in the face by the paw of a sleeping kitten. The damp, furry closeness in the crowded den sometimes gave her an overwarm sensation akin to nausea or boredom. Snaking her long limbs as far as space permitted, she longed to be out on her winding path, ranging wide in search of deer. In her dreams, she staggered whole herds. In her dreams, she slaughtered whole herds. She sought that first firm clasp on a stag's neck, the swift parting of its hide, her mouth filling at last with what was hot and wet and necessary. All right. Well, I don't know where it's going from that, but it does seem to be, a bit of. It's reminding me a bit of the opening of Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man. I'm not sure that bodes well for it, but I will certainly give it a try someday. And so here I found in this used copy, someone put a little piece of paper in as a bookmark in between pages 2 and 3. So they really were planning to get back to it, but they apparently didn't get very far, whoever owned this before. But thank you for bringing it to the used bookstore so I could get it for the low price of $5. I appreciate that. So that's what I have. Which one of these am I going to read next? To be honest, I think I failed this it's a challenge because I don't know which one I'm going to read next. I've got a whole pile of long books that I'm reading this year, and I'm in the midst of two big chunkers. Well, three if you count the Arabian Nights, and then I'm gonna do Randy Ray's book club next month and read Jim Thompson's The Getaway. Looking forward to that. Jim Thompson is wild. I haven't read that book, and I haven't read any of his stuff for a long time, but it's usually fun. So yeah, I don't know, probably, I don't know, Dwight Garner. That seems like pretty easygoing. I may just take that up sooner rather than later as a bit of a diversion. What would I need a diversion for these days? I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.